This is the Big Woods Bucks podcast. Come explore the big woods and timber in North America with your host, Maine Master Guide and deer tracking expert Hal Blood. Listen to Hal and co-hosts Lee Libby and Joe Cruzy as they unlock the secrets of big woods whitetails. Each episode will provide valuable insights into the tried and true system Hal has used for the last 40 years to scout, locate, and hunt mature big woods bucks. Listen and laugh as the crew discusses Hal's legendary adventures and learn how to apply a lifetime's worth of lessons from the big woods to your own hunting and outdoor adventures.
Welcome to the Big Woods Bucks podcast. I'm Hal Blood. I'm sitting here on a snowy day at Lake Parlin with my two buddies and co-hosts, Joe Cruzy.
Hello.
And Lee Libby.
Howdy.
Lee had to drive over today in a blizzard to get here to do this. And today on the phone, we've got team member Matt Breton from Charlton, Vermont. And we want to introduce Matt to everybody and what he does besides deer hunt. He's a fitness guru. He's a guy that's going to teach you how to get in shape for deer hunting or anything else you need to be in shape for. So welcome, Matt.
Thanks, Al. Happy to be here.
Yeah, good.
Fitness guru.
Fitness guru. Yep.
Yeah, I think that's a little bit of an overstatement. I'm trained to be a physical therapist.
Well, same thing, ain't it?
We'll say you're more of a guru than we are.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. Matt's watched me do my leg stretches.
Yes, that's a thing I can't forget.
Don't tell me he was in his tighty whities.
Of course.
Oh,
I don't think he
God.
stretches with anything else on.
Yeah.
I think those tighty whities date back to the 80s because every pair he's got hangs right to his knees.
I tried not to get so close that I could tell.
Oh, you spend a week in camp with him, and it's like, oh, is them the same ones you was wearing yesterday?
I don't know if I like how this one's getting started off.
No, my mother taught me to change my underwear every day, so I do change them every day. But I still wear the tighty whities, but my wife's got me kind of switched over to, them gray or blue or black Gildan underwears. They're still tight, but they work good.
I see an underwear commercial in the future for Big Woods Bucks.
Have we completely run out of things to talk about? We're down to tighty whities and boxer briefs.
Let's get going.
All right.
Well, Matt's job is to make us look good in them
That's right.
boxer briefs.
Yeah.
That's right.
He said I do good stretching, all right?
That's right. Yeah. As long as you're moving, you're doing something good.
Yeah. For an old guy, anyway, I do all right.
Yep.
All right, so go ahead, Matt. Tell us about what you're doing with that. And didn't you put a couple of videos on the Big
There were
Woods?
some videos there. I've written a few articles. I started to really think that training was important when I was at Cedar Ridge, listened to a guided client who quit 4 days in. And I couldn't believe that someone would pay that much money and just quit. And I knew how much fun I had tracking and how hard I wanted to work at it. So I started thinking about it. And the training for hunting is a little different in that we have to be ready for many days in a row, weeks in a row. And so it's different than a marathon or anything like that. It's not that complicated. You just got to put your time in and think about it year round. And I think it really drastically improved my deer hunting.
Yeah, I bet.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I remember, fortunately where we're in the woods all the time. So, we get started off early in the season with moose season with walking in the woods and putting on miles. So you kind of break yourself in and you're good to go for the season. But years ago when I'd only come for a week, I was so sore after the first couple of days, I could hardly get out of bed. And it's if you just come up and you don't do anything ahead of time, you definitely pay for it. And that was when I was young.
Matt, you say you've seen people leave after 4 days. I've seen them leave after 2. We had me and Kevin Harrison lived together in a camp with Tommy Hamilton there and guided for Hal. And I can remember Sunday night, we always looked forward to seeing our clients. And some of them we would call goers just by the way they were built. They had long legs or skinny. And I remember these two fellas showed up. Looks like they just stepped right out of an underwear commercial themselves. And Kevin had one. Actually, Kevin had, my client wasn't as good a shape, but Kevin had the one in best shape. And, Kevin's guy packed it up Tuesday night and headed back to, I can't remember if he was Massachusetts or Connecticut, but he left a letter there or a note saying it wasn't for him, and he was physically exhausted, and he looked like he was, he was the definition of in shape, but he just didn't have what we call the grit, which I think will take you a long ways in the woods.
Oh, yeah, I think mental focus matters, or mental toughness matters more than anything else.
Yeah.
But if you can put your time in ahead of the season, you're going to do better, and you can focus on the actual deer hunting.
Right.
So Matt, what is you're a physical therapist?
Yes.
So what is your background? As far as
My education background, I got a health science degree from Johnson State here in Vermont, and then I sort of floated around as a trout bum for a little while, deer hunting and figuring that stuff out. Eventually, I joined the Army and got educated as a physical therapist, and did 5 years there. Moved back to Vermont, and have been working here ever since.
Yeah. So you have a practice right there in Vermont?
Yes. Yep.
Nice. Now, you wrote a book, Hal said?
I did. I wrote a book called Bucks That Got Away.
Bucks That Got Away. Nice.
I also realized there was a gap in the knowledge of regular guys hunting. You look at Hal, and he's just getting it done, and you keep wandering around hoping there's a secret you're going to find out. And really, it comes down to just hard work.
Yeah, there is a secret, right? You said it, hard work.
Yeah,
It's in the book, too.
I never had one get away.
That you told us about.
Yeah, I had more get away than the rest of you. I tell you that right now. It's called swing till you hit.
Yeah, and I used to get really down in the dumps when I missed one or didn't catch up to him or anything like that. So I finally got over that, realized that was part of it. Just show up the next day and keep going.
Yeah.
I want to tell you something. You'll learn more from the ones that got away than the ones you killed. It just
Definitely.
Just the way it is. Yeah. Yeah, because those are painful and they get imprinted in your mind, so you try not to repeat that stuff.
So what are some of the things in the book, Matt, that you focus on? What's a guy that works 5 days a week, has a week of deer hunting off every November, and a family and gymnastics classes and high school ball games? What's key? Is it eating? Is it making yourself get to the gym? What would you do?
Well, I think the first thing is making sure you have a well-rounded diet. So just how you eat matters. I'm not getting crazy with how much of this, that, or the other that you're putting in. Just eating something that's good for you. And then after that, you have to prioritize your fitness. So when someone's in a gymnastics class, going for a walk,
Right.
Getting up a little early in the morning. I don't think you have to spend a bunch of time in the gym. You don't have to look like you're in shape. You just have to condition those muscles. Legs are most important. And so in the wintertime, I'm in the gym. But in the summertime, I'd prefer hiking with a pack on. I do some training in my driveway. It doesn't have to be anything razzle-dazzle. Showing up every day, doing something, it matters more.
Right. Yeah, because 6 or 8 hours on a buck track, doing a high step in a foot of snow every day, it takes some serious conditioning to get ready for that.
I identify a lot with the not looking like they're in shape, but I can walk.
Yeah.
I think the mental toughness part is really, really important, and you can make up for a lot with putting your mind to it and sticking with it and persistence. And you can tell a lot about people that don't want to do that. For instance, Lee's buddy there that went home after 2 days.
Not my buddy.
I know. I like to throw buddy around there.
Just a fella.
Yeah. But it certainly takes that. Until you experience the big woods and tracking, you don't realize how important it is.
Yeah.
Right. And I think a lot of people think persistence or mental toughness is something you're born with. And I think you can actually develop that. The longer hikes you go on, the harder you make it on yourself, you learn that you're capable of a lot more. I mean, Hal and Lee know that military teaches you that.
Yeah, we learned that in boot camp, huh, Lee?
Yeah, there was no options. There wasn't an option out. There was no safe space. There was no time out. There was hurry up, get it done.
It's funny. I wasn't in the military, but what I look back to and remember, I think where I built mine or got mine was football, because they smashed you around, and it's not the military. You had the option to leave, but if you left,
Right.
that wasn't
You weren't
good.
coming back.
No, you didn't come back, and So, and having said that, I actually quit football so I could hunt more because it was in the fall.
Yeah. But I think that's
Hunting
why
was more important.
I think that's why we're not, we're kind of a limited group of people that want to track deers, because you have to have that mental ability to just charge forward, and no matter how your legs feel or your ankles bothering you or whatever.
Well, you probably know too, Lee, but our drill instructors in boot camp would always say no pain, no gain, because, when you started doing these different exercises and all that, you'd be lame and all of that. But I never forgot that, no pain, no gain, because it's true. And a lot of people...
I never heard that before, Hal. You ought to coin that term.
Well, what happens is a lot of people, when they get that pain, they go through a hard day of whether they're hunting or exercise, whatever they're doing, and then their muscles are sore. So then they don't want to do it the next day because it hurts a little bit, But you have to push through that, right, Matt? You got to just keep doing it.
Yeah, and to a point, and I think that's where people getting ready is really a benefit. They don't have that same pain, or it's at least familiar, so they're not scared of it.
Right. Some people think the pain is going to, affect them. There's something wrong with them because they have a little muscle pain, They don't realize it's just they're getting stronger, but they got to push through that little bit of pain. That's it.
Yeah. I've gotten into where years ago I realized that how much stretching helps is the first thing I do when I get up in the morning is stretch, and the difference that made for getting through that. Now, after a couple of days you don't get sore anymore. You just keep going, but
I should you get you some of my stretched out tidy whities. They probably fit you.
Yeah. Doubtful.
It's funny that you say the stretching, because I stretch, but I do go to the gym at least 3 days a week. I'm there at 5 a.m. and I have the gym to myself with a couple other fellas till about 6. So I took a couple weeks there. We got busy and I wasn't hitting the gym as much. And I used to be able to stretch pretty good. And was it Monday morning I went to the gym there and I couldn't stretch as far as I could, just taking a couple weeks back from the gym. It was amazing. So yeah, if you stretch every day, it surprised me how fast at 52 you can start to stiffen back up,
Wait till you get my age.
52.
I'm going to keep stretching.
As we get older, we tighten up and dry out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I try to not dry out much.
No comment.
Oh. But what about, so I got a question. I was at camp once years ago before I started hanging around with these fellas. And them guys would hunt pretty hard, but they'd drink just as hard at night. And they'd wake up in the morning, they'd be sore. And I might have a drink or two, but I wouldn't indulge like they did. And them guys would be sore, and I felt pretty good. Do you think, that alcohol must take away from your body recovering, don't you think, Matt?
Oh, definitely. It dehydrates you.
Yeah.
And that's the biggest thing for soreness the next day, is keeping hydrated the night before.
Yeah.
I always heard if you drink Bud Light, it's more like water, so you get hydration out of it. Is there any truth to that?
I don't know. I have an uncle that tells me the same thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. One thing I think is important, we haven't touched on yet, Matt, is, and because I realized it a long time ago guiding hunters, when I started guiding the one-on-one hunters, especially because they were going right with me, is that they thought they was in shape, because I always would tell my hunters to be in shape like you were going on a sheep hunt or something, and a lot of them never took it seriously, so I could tell right off, the ones that couldn't get up the first ridge, I knew they'd been walking down the sidewalk 4 or 5 miles a day, which pretty much does nothing for you. But it's you have to get your wind up, your cardio. You gotta build your lungs and your wind to be able to get up and down the ridges and mountains.
Definitely. And I think you have to build a broad foundation first. So doing your 4 or 5 mile walk starts things. And then as you get closer to the season, you really have to dial it in and get more specific with your training. So you start going through the woods, up the hills, over logs, all that stuff.
Yeah, that's a good point, because anybody that's from down, out of Maine where farm country is reverted back, the woods are more open, even like in the Adirondacks and stuff. There's not a lot of stuff to trip over in the woods, they you can walk right down through the hardwoods and stuff. But here, you're always stepping over and around things, blowdowns and old rotten logs and rocks and everything else. And that's what people aren't used to that, it wears them out a lot quicker.
Well, the other thing too is
it's just walking.
It's not just walking, stepping over logs, but doing it quietly.
Yeah. Foot placement.
It definitely adds another element to the fatigue, I think, when you're walking quietly over logs and everything, because you're going slower and for purpose.
The one machine I never miss at the gym, Matt, is the leg press. I can press almost 3 times my weight on that leg press machine.
Oh, listen to Lee bragging.
I think that's key, because my legs never bother me. I get tired, but my legs don't seem to bother.
Yeah, I think leg presses, squats, lunges are all really good. Making those legs strong is key. It builds a bunch of resilience in the system.
It doesn't make me any quieter in the woods, though. I was blessed with a size 9 foot, so that helps a little bit.
I noticed something this year that probably isn't anything of conditioning. It's probably wore out parts. Is my right shoulder from carrying my gun all season was starting to feel it. And I'd never had that before. I had to switch over every once in a while to my left hand, just because it was, I think, from 3 or 4 weeks swinging that gun in one arm.
Yeah.
And I'd never had that issue before. So hopefully it's not a wore out shoulder coming on.
Well.
Yeah, and that's the sort of stuff in the off season, when you're thinking about how your season went last year, you can work to address those issues.
Yeah, I do. I lift those beers all off season.
Does them 12-ounce curls.
Yeah.
Well, as much as that phone is hooked to your head, your shoulder's bound to be worn out.
True.
I pulled into Powell Lodge the other day on a snowmobile, and there's Cruzy on the phone. When I left, he was still over there on the phone.
Well,
he did stop and say hi.
And when it rings, I have to answer it.
Yeah. Thanks for
Much as
lunch,
I hate
by
it.
the way.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Thanks for lunch. Jesus. Rangeley Lake Snowmobile Club came over and brushed out a whole trail for us.
Yeah.
Lunch is the easy end, is part of that deal.
Then we lent him a drag, and he cut it right in half, Matt. Oh, yeah. These guys up here don't care. Friends are friends. They just, whatever. Mine is yours, and yours is mine.
So I actually was going to go as far as I was going to take that wood deck and that cone off of yours and stick it on mine and take that picture and try to sell it to you and Mike. That
didn't work.
No. Our new one's getting delivered tomorrow.
So, Matt, what about, I've had clients that we call it get lathered up, because they are out of shape. And once they seem to get lathered up and they start to get cold and all that, is there anything, would cardio take care of that? Would that give you a little more wind?
Oh, definitely. And I think longer bouts of cardio.
Yeah.
If you talk to a typical trainer, they're going to say, 40, 45 minutes. But really, if you start hiking for a few hours at a time, get sweaty, get used to that uncomfortable feeling, you're going to do better.
Yeah, definitely.
And I think what you eat matters, too. Some people get like a sugar crash and can't keep going.
Right. I give them a Snickers bar, try to get them filled back up again.
Yeah, I think that's a great idea.
Yeah.
I used to hunt with some guys and carry some juice boxes around. When they started dragging, I'd hand them one of those.
Yeah.
I notice that when people do get sweaty, it's like saps the energy right out of them. It's almost like I know when somebody, they got to take a shirt off and they're right in a lather of sweat, they're not going to make the day. They just can't, it's pulled the energy right from them.
Yeah.
I think when that happens, it's beyond just sweating, and they're really having a response that their body's reacting to, and they're freaking out a little bit.
Oh, yeah, that's another whole story about people freaking out. Yeah.
When your brain senses a loss of sugar, it starts to go into survival mode.
Yeah. That must be what happens to me just before that bowl of ice cream every night on the couch. My body says, because no matter how bad I resist it, my body says, get your ass up and get me some ice cream.
That's why you're the same shape as that bowl.
Yeah, oh, yeah, pretty near. Yeah. Same bowl I cut my hair with.
So, how was your hunting season, Matt?
I had a pretty good hunting season. I managed to tag one buck in New Hampshire, tracked him for about 3.5 hours, caught him in his bed on top of a mountain. So, weighed 173.
Nice.
Smaller rack than Hal's.
Was
Did
it?
it have brow tines, though?
That's pretty small.
Yeah, it was pretty small, and no brow tine.
Oh, robbed.
Yeah.
I'm still working on getting after the bigger ones, but I just love to track the whole adventure of it, getting close to them. There's nothing like it.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, and it's everybody wants to shoot a 200-pound buck, but boy, when you can track one down, especially shoot it in its bed, that's a big accomplishment. It doesn't matter if it's 175 or 225.
Wait a minute. Because when I was shooting 175-pound deer, you said, Lip, stop shooting them little deer. But now it's okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, some
As long
people,
as they're not close to Hal.
yeah, some people are a little harder on than others. I knew they could take it.
Somebody asked me, what'd you see today? Oh, nice 6 or 8 pointer. What did we? Oh, probably 175. You didn't shoot it? I says, you ain't friends with Hal Blood, are you? The last thing I want to do tonight is call him and say, yeah, I shot one. 175 pounds. Yeah.
It's better than calling them and telling them you missed one.
Yeah.
Oh, I never say anything about that.
No. No.
Oh, shoot.
Yeah. Well, you miss as many as I have.
So let's do so you have this book, Matt, right?
Yep.
Is there something we can do on the webpage so that, like, say, what do you think? 2 months before deer season, say September next year, you start doing a weekly post on the website and giving some guys and gals some exercises to do? And
Oh, definitely. I've done that in the past. Put out some information on that. I actually like to start in April or May. Have people just start walking 3 days a week.
maybe
After a
we,
month, build up to 4 days a week, and get a little more specific as the season gets closer.
See, it's obvious that Lee doesn't monitor our website much. He doesn't see that stuff.
Oh, I don't.
Or the
I
Facebook
don't-
post.
Oh. I'm just.
I don't really have much to say.
Well, I was thinking about. I know, but it's not. I want to do some exciting stuff. Like, how about a Big Woods challenge? Like, we could see who could lose what. You know, who could be in
Yeah,
the
and
best
I
shape.
think weight loss isn't the most important thing. That
See, you're all-
fat at the beginning of the season is your energy at the end of the
Thank you, Matt. All right, I've been trying to tell him that. No one wants to listen to me. I like the whole, and I've done it before. I haven't done it in a few years, but I'm going to be doing a moose hunt to Alaska, so I'm going to get back into it. Is putting a frame pack on and putting weight in it, because that's as real world as you get. You know, that's the workout you want, and putting 60 or 70 pounds in it and putting some miles on that way, I think is for me is the closest thing you can get to it.
Yeah, 60, 70-pound antlers would be pretty good on a pack frame.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd start a little lighter than that, but I like to go out west and hunt and pack hike a lot.
You do?
Yeah.
Yep. I pulled a elk tag for Colorado last year. Couldn't find nobody to go with me.
What? I was in Colorado. Muzzleloader hunting.
Oh, I didn't see that on the website. I guess I didn't look.
I may not have advertised it ahead of time.
Yeah, like Cruzy, after he books his moose hunt to Alaska, he tells us about it. Hey, I booked a moose hunt to Alaska.
I didn't book a hunt. I'm just going. There's no booking, but you and Hal are welcome to come along. We'll go 4 of us.
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
But I don't know, Lee. As much time as you take off to go riding and everything else, how are you going to swing that too?
know.
You got to work sometime
I really
in between.
hate. I hate working.
Yeah.
I really do. I do it out of necessity, and that's it. Yeah.
Well, at least you're more honest than all of us.
Well, I mean, we all got to do it, but I do like to take my winters off. I love hunting season. I love to snowmobile. I love the snow. And as soon as it starts to melt, my gears change, and I work 6-7 days a week and make enough money so I can do it again the next year.
That's a good plan.
Yeah. Hey, Matt, I might have already told you, but for the listeners there, I've noticed when I've crept into the 60s here that I have to change a little bit the way that I get in shape or stay in shape or whatever you want to call it, because when you get older, your recovery time is not the same as when you're younger. And I started noticing that a few years ago. So what I do is I take a day off. Like I'll go up to Ball Mountain and I'll hike the mountain because there's a trail up the front side and then down the back, and it's 6 miles. If I go up to the summit, come back around, it's a loop you can make. It's so you don't have to go up and down the same trail. The scenery's different. But anyway, when I start out that, especially like in the spring, because I'm not as active in the winter, I try to take walks and stuff, but I'm not getting the same cardio. What I do is I hike the mountain. I first, usually when I start up, I may not go all the way up. If I feel like I'm not in good enough shape, I might go 2 miles, come back down, something like that. But then when I get where I go all the way up, I might have to stop every few hundred yards and take a little breather and keep going up. But then I eventually, I go every other day. I don't do it every day. I go every other day, and then I let my muscles rest a day. Then I get back on it and go again. But I can notice every time I go, every other day, I gain, and it seems like it's quite a bit because I'll go from maybe stopping every 200-300 yards to maybe every stop in every quarter of a mile, and then it might be every half a mile. And within 2 weeks, I make the whole trip up without stopping. It's like 3 miles up and then 3 miles down, but I make the whole trip without stopping to take a break at all. And then once I get to that point, I just try to increase my speed, because when I first doing it, I'm poke my way up. And I actually, the last time I timed it, I could do that 6 mile loop in 2 hours flat. I could never get it any quicker because it'd probably be a little dangerous to try to come down any quicker because you're walking through rocks and water holes and all that stuff. But that's what I do anyways, and it seems to work out good for me. Take a break every day.
Perfect. That's why it doesn't need to be fancy or complicated. You just got to put the time in.
Yeah.
So did you call Matt Hal this past season when you were recovering from your knee surgeries and that sort of thing? Get any helpful advice, or you just figure you're going to tough through it?
Yeah, I just toughed through it.
I mean, who would call a physical therapist for him to ask him to get advice, Well, can't imagine doing that.
Well, the doctor asked me if I wanted to do therapy, and I go, no, I do enough therapy on my own. That was my answer.
You're getting the wrong kind of therapy.
Yeah, I think so, because they told me I couldn't hurt it, after I had that. They fixed that meniscus. And it actually, after my 6 weeks checkup, it was pretty good. I was like, it seemed like the swelling and everything had recovered quicker than the first one I had done 10 years ago. But it never seemed to get any better. Once they told me I could do whatever I wanted, I started building that house for my buddy the next day and lugging 2x10s and 3/4 inch Van Tack. And I don't think really that was the right approach.
Yeah, carpentry work isn't great therapy.
So I suffered quite a while with it. But the good news was, kind of ironically, I think I told you that, Matt. Well, maybe I didn't, but when we were over at the Vermont show there a month ago, my knee was still nagging me and stuff, and then I come down with that creeping crud sickness there, and then when I was sitting around back home, all of a sudden one day I'm like, geez, my knee doesn't hurt anymore. And it's almost like snapping my fingers, my knee didn't hurt anymore.
Huh.
Yeah. I must have rested enough this winter it finally come out of it. But
yep.
So I'll be good to go by fall again.
As long as you do your hiking. Take Lee with you too.
My hiking and my stretching.
Yep.
Yes. Get Lee's help for the stretched.
Yep.
Yeah.
It really is. I mean, we're joking a lot about it, but it's anyone that's coming up, I don't think it can be overstated how important it is to get in shape first. I know a lot of people's attitudes like, I feel pretty good. I think I'll be all right. I think they're just blowing it up more than it is. No. But if you're coming up and you're taking the time and maybe spending money to have a guide and all that, it's you're just doing yourself a disservice not to be in shape.
Even moose hunting, we've had clients that, had no idea we were going to walk 9 miles in a day calling moose, and I think everybody's kind of taken back. And I think mentally some people, it's overwhelming when you see these woods sometimes, and we strike off on a buck track and it's straight uphill for a mile or so. I think a lot of people give up in the first day and say, well, I just can't do this. And you can tell them on the phone all you want to get ready, but...
Hey, everyone. Hal here. You want to join the hunting club as soon as you can, because that's where you're going to get all my information. I'll have short film hunts, video tips, articles every month, and there's also a forum on there for you people to communicate. Maybe you'll meet a new hunting buddy on there. And the other thing is a question of the month. Submit a question, and I'll pick one every month to answer, and the winner's going to end up getting a decal for their truck. Join up at bigwoodsbucks.com. Hope you enjoy it.
Hey guys, Joe here. Wanted to take a few minutes to talk about Lake Parlin Lodge. We're a 4-season lodge located just south of Jackman. We've got cabins, lodge rooms, mini lodge. We're a big snowmobile destination in the winter, full restaurant, bar, all the amenities that you need for your trip. Open obviously through the summer right on the lake. Kayaks, canoes, all included with the cabin. We also do a lot of weddings, so if you're looking for a destination wedding, we can do a wedding up to 200 people. And, of course, we've got our hunting season, moose season, deer season. So check us out. We're at lakeparlinlodge.com. One of the most rewarding moose hunts that I've guided was a guy that was he came in the summer and booked the hunt, and I talked to him about getting in shape and how important it was, and I had some places I wanted to hike up some mountains. Well, he actually worked at it and got in shape and was feeling good and came in the first morning. I figured I would test it out and see, how in shape he was. And we went right up a mountain and where no one else had been and shot a beautiful bull. And it was extremely rewarding for him. I mean, he just kept going on about how happy he was that he took the time to get in shape and do it, because it just adds to the experience when you can go like that.
Oh, yeah. Hey, Matt, another thing is we talk about being in shape to walk around, but a lot of people don't realize you got to be in shape for other things like even carrying your gun, but also when you shoot your buck, dragging it out. And, that's going to test you. I get a lot of people all the time say, how do you get them bucks out of the woods, them 200-pound bucks? Because they're used to driving up to one in the field with their four-wheeler and throwing it on the four-wheeler and putting their way out with a deer. But I said, I don't know, you just got to drag it. That's all, You go along and drag. But that's another chore to be in shape for, is dragging. And you got some ways to do that, too.
Yeah. One of the videos on the website is me dragging a big piece of maple around my driveway. So I think that's what the biggest risk is. People have a heart attack when they're dragging a buck. They're so excited. They're dehydrated. And then it's that much work. It actually is dangerous.
I'll remember that
get
next
in shape
time.
ahead of time.
I'll make my cameraman pull more weight than me.
I think the biggest workout is getting it up on the hood of the Ram Charger, Hal, because that is a job.
That's where the squats and the presses come in.
He wouldn't even think about getting one of those little carriers that goes on his reese hitch. It's got to go on the hood.
Well, it'll get dirty back there.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I guess
Come
so.
on.
Looks too good on the hood.
Yeah.
Ram Charger.
Yeah. That thing is shoulder high, too.
Joe goes, when him and Jonah come in and drag my buck out for me, he goes, we'll just throw it in the back of my truck. And I go, oh, no. No. That's going on the Ram Charger.
But what did we do? It went in the back of the truck first and then slid onto the hood of the Ram Charger.
Yeah, we got it in the truck, then on the Ram Charger. And he goes, how the heck do you do that by yourself from the ground? I go, figure out a way.
Is there a video out there of you doing that?
I'd like to get that on video, yeah.
Oh, I got that one on the video there, trying to get it on that slippery log pile there. It was quite a chore.
And I think you got it up there and it fell off.
Yeah, fell off the first time. Fell down in the crack, and I had to winch it back up and get it on the log pile. And
You were
Yeah.
sick then too, so
Yeah, I didn't have my full strength at that time. But I didn't have the strength, but I had the grit, right?
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
Yeah, people underestimate how much of a benefit being in shape it can be.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Well, you feel so much better too. You feel better.
Yeah, and you can focus on being quiet or thinking about what that buck's doing ahead of you.
Right.
Yeah, and the thing about being quiet is when you learn to walk through the woods, if your legs are strong enough, you can stand on one leg and while you're trying to place your other foot somewhere, you don't clomp around as much, because you can hold your weight on one leg, and yeah, just a lot to it,
I think one thing that clients don't realize is you can book a hunt with Hal or me or Joe, but we can only hunt to your ability. So if you can't go more than 3 or 4 miles a day, then that's all we got. If you want to hunt like us, then you've got to be ready to hunt with us. And if Hal can go 8 or 9 miles a day, or way more than that, I know for a fact, and he's killing big bucks, there's a reason. It ain't because he's only doing 3, So
I think I've told the story before. Hal was following me with a camera a couple seasons ago, and we chased this buck a long way. And we were on a pretty steep mountain, and I was having to take breathers every now and then. And I remember turning around, looking at Hal, and he was standing there like he was in the grocery store.
we're never going to catch this thing.
I can outwalk a lot of people, but at Hal's, we'll just say
stride
at his age, I was pretty impressed that he was as relaxed as he was and could go like he could go.
Yeah,
I remember you kept turning around asking me, "How's your legs?" And I'm like, "Well, my legs are fine."
I
was wondering why I was asking.
Mine were burning.
The
Mine were burning.
The client's favorite way to slow you down is, "Where are we?"
Yeah.
Like I'm going to stop and explain it. I'm on a buck track. That's where we are. Yeah. Where are we?
But it's important for sure.
Yeah.
It is important. And I think if you start now, February, March, April, people are going to be ready for deer season.
Yeah.
Whether you're a guided client or a guy who hunts on his own, it's really going to benefit you.
Yeah.
Sure.
Did you say you drag around a piece of maple?
Yeah, I've got a big piece of maple that I hook a handle to, and I drag it for a minute and take a break. Do that 4 or 5 times, maybe a couple days a week, and it gets me in shape for dragging.
Yeah.
How much does a piece of maple weigh?
Gosh, that piece is probably 300 pounds.
I was just wondering what you were getting ready for.
I'm going to cut it in half because I'm not shooting that many big bucks.
That's pretty optimistic, but I like it. I like the way you're thinking.
Yeah.
So
Good. So where can we find the book, Matt?
It's available on Amazon. I have it on a website, chasingadventuresllc.com.
Yeah.
LLC, huh?
Yeah, just a little business venture to keep things going.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's so nobody sues you when they trip and fall after taking your advice.
Yeah, and there's a lot of stories in the book about bucks I've missed and screwed up on and the lessons I learned.
Yeah, Ed told us the other day when we had our board meeting, he loved the book because it's about somebody. Nobody usually writes that much about the ones that got away,
Right.
But everybody has it happen, and people got to know they ain't alone. But what I got out of your book, Matt, was that you just keep going. You learn from it, You're not
Exactly.
You're not going to get everyone, but everyone is a lesson. And hey, sometimes you repeat those anyways, no matter what. I mean, I still do it. I'll still do stupid things that I teach people not to do certain things or to do certain things. And I'll go along and then I'll go and do it anyways myself, thinking I'm going to have a different result, but I never do. I'm like, why did I do that? And I tell everybody else not to do that. Yeah.
Right.
Usually, I'm going to tell you what it boils down to for me, anyways, is when I make most of those mistakes now, I'm trying to shortcut and it's usually later in the day. As you get tireder throughout the day, you you don't have as much energy to go make that circle or do something different like you should do. And that's always when it comes back to bite me, by not just doing it anyways because I'm maybe a little bit tired at the end of the day,
Yeah. I don't. Where was I going with that, Joe?
I'll go with it. I don't know.
I just don't know how to explain to people. We keep saying it over and over and over. And when you book a hunt, you start calling them in the spring and you say, get in shape, and they never do. So what drives it home? By the time a guy comes up and hunts and the second day he's calling his mom for moral support, he gets it. But by the time he gets home and he forgets it, you know what I mean? It's...
So you guys have had the experience of guiding a lot of deer hunters over the years. What would you say the percentage of guys that are ready to go is, and that you never have to worry about, and the guys that are not completely, but just need to slow down a lot?
I think it's at least 50-50, Lee.
Yeah, probably. I think I'm surprised by the guys that show up that you don't think are in shape but have the mental fortitude where it wouldn't matter how they felt, they were just going to go. Those people are a lot like us, because I'm never going to say to a client in the morning, oh, my legs are tired, or oh, I don't, those are the guys, the tree guy that missed $3 in 1 week. That guy didn't look like, he was no fitness model by any means, but that guy had grit that could go and go and go. So a lot of it is mental, I think. But yeah, probably half of them show up in shape, and the other half, 25%, never even try, I don't think. They think we're crazy.
Well, I think the whole thing boils down to is maybe it's a human nature or something, but they don't believe you when you tell them what you got to do to be in shape. They just don't. They can't imagine it, so they don't believe it, whether they think you're pulling their leg or whatever it is, so they don't bother. They don't take it serious enough. And now that being said, I can't understand people why after spending all that money on a guided hunt where they wouldn't take it serious, but some people do. I guess everybody's different,
Yeah. The ones that come back, the ones that come the first year and then rebook for the second year, usually they come back in a lot better shape.
Oh, yeah. Well, yeah, if they come back again, that's because they're the ones that end up loving the big woods, and they'll come back and they'll get more serious about it because they've experienced it, and then they'll understand it,
And I think once you've had that success, you want it more, so you're willing to put the effort into it.
Yeah.
Good point.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
What is it called? The reward, If the reward's big enough, the price don't matter,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, so we all going to go out and do calisthenics after this?
I'm stretching. In my mind, I'm doing butt clenches right now.
I was thinking about going out and doing a few.
And just for everyone listening, he actually, when I glanced over at him, he was sitting there doing butt clenches.
I read somewhere once that if you do crunches in your mind, you'll have six-pack abs, and I've been doing crunches for 30 years, and I haven't had a six-pack since I was 20. So
yeah. You're leaning more towards the keg, ain't you?
yeah, well, rounds of shape. Matt said it. Yeah.
Oh.
I think we could go out in this new snow and do some snow angels. We'd get all stretched out.
The funny thing is that 52 years old. I weigh 220. I ride pretty hard. I think I'm in decent shape, but I don't look, as we get older. When I was 25, I could drive by a gym and get a six-pack ab. Looking at, it seemed like it was that easy. And as I get older, I'm like, oh, I'm going to drop 15 pounds for this season's riding season. And then I'm like, oh, well, I lost 7. It doesn't come off like it used to. But
No, as we age, our metabolism slows down.
Yeah,
Hard
for
thing
sure.
to fight.
So I tell all you young fellas, wait till you get my age. See, I'm the example for you guys. You'll see all the bodily changes you have when you get older. You just look at me, and in 10 years you'll be there.
Well, the other way to look at that is that all the tracking that you've done over the years has kept you in shape too.
I don't see the problem. You could still outwalk 80%, 85% of most men, probably 95% of men your age. You know what I mean? That's why if I'm in as good a shape as you are at 60, I'm good.
Yeah.
I'm good.
Yeah, I guess. You got to work at it, though.
Yeah, that sort of fitness accumulates over years.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'll tell you something. Years ago, well, not even that many years ago, but even like just 10 years ago, I never had to try to get in shape. You know what I mean? It was easy, you know. Even after the winter, when I was in my worst of shape, you know, and then you just walk up a little grade and you huff and puff. I mean, it used to be 2 or 3 days, and that was the end of it, you know.
Yeah.
It's a little longer than that now, but I guess I'm lucky. I just always been that way, not to have to struggle as much with it. But I did make a conscious effort that I would never weigh over 200 pounds again. I went to 210 one winter, and that was quite a while ago too, because I didn't change my eating habits in the winter as I got older, and I was still in my 40s, late 40s, because I remember went down to my son's graduation at boot camp, and you know, we all took pictures. Me and Deb took pictures with him and stuff like that. And we get home and look at the pictures, and I'm like, oh, my God, I look like that. And I said to myself right then, I got on the scales, I weighed 210, and I said, I'll never do that again. And I never have. I've never gone over 200.
Mm-hmm. Well, my gauge is 270. I'm never going to go. I've been at 240 for a while right now, and I said I'm never going to get over 270 again.
Was you 270?
I weighed 273 one time.
Yeah, but you're 6'4", ain't you? Anyway,
close to it.
Yeah, he's what we call full-figured, Lee.
Yeah,
he's full-figured.
Yeah, at 240, I feel pretty thin. Actually, I'm pretty dense. Actually, not just in the head.
That's
one of my legs weighs 80 pounds.
Yeah.
But yeah, I haven't seen 200 since probably 11th or 12th grade.
I crept up over the years. Mine was an incremental weight gain. When I was, this is funny, when I went to boot camp, when I was 18, I was 6'3", and I weighed $145. I was a beanpole.
Yeah.
You're not kidding. That is.
And I gained 10 pounds in boot camp. When I come out, I weighed 155 because it was muscle. And then I just slowly over the years, after a few years, I'd weigh 160. And then I think when I got out of the Marine Corps after 4 years, because as you get older, mature, when you're a teenager, maybe you're going to weigh less. But I think when I got out of the Marine Corps when I was 22, I think I weighed about $170, maybe $175 or something. And I stayed that way for quite a while, maybe $180. And it's only up until about, I don't know, probably when I got in my 40s when I started getting up around 190. I remember I'd go into deer season around 190, and I might come out at 175 or 180. I'd lose, when I was guiding every day back then, I'd lose 15 pounds every deer season, and then I'd go back up in the 190s for the winter. But
hey guys, thanks for tuning in. Don't forget to go to the Big Woods Bucks website and join the hunting club. On there you'll find short films of Hal's hunts, video tips and articles written by Hal, as well as a forum where you can go on there and talk with fellow hunters and learn a few things while you're at it. There's a lot of good stuff on there, and we think it's going to be a great place for hunters to just communicate, and talk about a common interest. Check us out at bigwoodsbucks.com. Yeah, speaking about guiding every day, your name is not on the list I saw earlier for...
This is not a conversation for this podcast.
My name's on there a lot, and I don't see yours, Lee, and that disturbs me just a little bit.
I'll bless you with my presence. How's that?
Jesus. We going to be able to fit his head out the door here today?
I don't know.
That's a big door.
Yeah, he thinks he's gonna come over and eat and tell stories, and that's his part. But he's wrong about
that. Ain't
that.
Good enough.
No, no. I think there's a couple people out there that want you to guide them.
Wow, they'll get more out of me if they just listen. But
yeah, right.
Just listen. Don't do what I do. Just listen.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, we'll see.
Hey, Matt, do we have we've got the link for your book on the Big Woods page too, right?
I think so, and if it's not there, we'll get it there.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. You know, that's not my job, but it's somebody's.
Oh,
Yeah. Yeah.
So we've got some. We're going to be handling doing some questions that we get on the website, Matt. So
on the forum, we decided. Chris came up with this idea, Matt. We decided, or he did. He thought it'd be a good idea to go over some of the questions that people put in on the club forum under the question of the month.
Yep.
So I answer it in the forum every month. I pick one, but I decided to pull out some of the ones that I thought were pretty good questions, and we can talk about those on, do one or two per podcast. I think people would like that. So
the one I think
that's
that
a great idea.
pertains most to what we're talking about here right now is how much food and water do you pack for a day's hunt? Obviously, you need fuel during the day. What do you bring, Hal?
What do I bring? I used to bring 2 sandwiches. I always wrote about that. I'd have a 10 and 2 sandwich. But again, since the last few years, as I got older and metabolism changes, I guess, I don't need to eat as much. And I maintain the same weight usually. I mean, I'll drop a little during deer season. But so now I may take 2. Some days I'll take 2 sandwiches. But usually I take one real big thick one, and I've had people ask me what kind of sandwiches, and a lot of people like peanut butter and jelly or something, but there's a lot of sugar and stuff. They don't get you very far, but I always have a nice meat and cheese sandwich. I don't know if it's roast beef or ham or turkey, doesn't matter, but a nice thick meat and cheese sandwich. And I take a couple of cookies, and I always got a few candy bars in there. And
Hal doesn't go anywhere without cookies.
Cookies, got to have your cookies. And then if I'm hunting here, back here in Maine, I don't carry any water because there's too much of it in the woods to drink, all them springs that run off the mountains and the ridges there. So I don't carry it. If I go, I learned out in Montana there that's very dry. There's only water way down in the bottoms that you have to carry some water there. But usually if I carry I usually just carry one of those 16-ounce water bottles for the day, and if it's warm, it's really not enough, but I can get by with it.
Yeah, your little trick, Hal taught me I carried a water bottle, and it was a plastic one, and it made a lot of noise. I now have a solid one, but using a Ziploc bag, the same one you carry your sandwich in, can work also. Yeah. But I carry a life straw in my pack that way because I like to hunt down in the swamps and the bogs and the lowland a lot, and there's not quite as much running water in those areas, so I'll take it right out of a mud puddle and use that life straw. Those things work great if I have to.
How many sandwiches you take?
Well, I'm the peanut butter and fluff guy.
Yeah. Fluff. That's bad for you.
I know. Matt's going to scold me on it.
Yeah, he's laughing. He knows.
Yeah.
But
I don't think it's the best idea, but it's better than nothing.
Well, that's what I make. I make 2 of those, and I savor them. And a couple of bars I'll usually carry, a Cliff Bar or something like that. Something really super high in sugar and bad for me.
Yeah, that's why it weighs 240.
Yeah, exactly.
But I carry a Cliff Bar too. I like those. They're good for quick energy. Keep you going.
I ate one for breakfast on the way up here. Have you tried that butter and coconut crunch one?
Oh, the coconut ones are delicious.
Oh, that's good.
Peanut butter chocolate chip is my favorite.
Oh, yeah.
But, the food that you carry a lot of it is dictated by your pack and what you want to carry in it, and you can't get too crazy with it. It's just too much food to carry around.
Yeah, I don't like carrying a lot of stuff, It's carry enough, but not too much. Go light, go often.
I carry 32 ounces of water.
You do? That's
32.
Bag, so you can squeeze the air out of it and it doesn't slosh around.
Yeah. What do you carry it in?
To your pack. Say that again?
What do you carry it in?
It's called a platypus.
Oh, yeah.
Don't you drink any of the water out of the seeps in the mountains?
Very rarely.
How come?
I've heard too many Giardia stories.
It's a good weight loss program. Little Giardia never killed nobody.
That's right. I've only had it twice.
I remember the day I was out antler hunting in the spring, and I was walking up this real nice stream and really thirsty, so I got down and drank right out of the stream, and I mean probably drank a half gallon of water. I walked another 100 yards up to the woods, and it was a big beaver bog just above it. I didn't get sick, but boy, I thought I was gonna. I said, "There's no way I'm gonna get out of this one."
Yeah. You know what the solution to pollution is, don't you? Dilution. That's right.
Yeah. Well, I haven't had the pleasure of getting that sickness yet. I hope not to.
So what do you take for sandwiches, Matt? Not peanut butter and fluff, I take it.
No, I usually have a meat and cheese sandwich, just like you. Turkey pretty often.
Got one of these healthy
Carry an
guys
apple
here.
and a Cliff Bar. Yeah.
An apple. Apples are for your teacher, Matt.
They serve a dual purpose. If you're thirsty and you eat an apple, you won't be quite as thirsty.
Yeah.
That's a good little tidbit.
Yeah.
Yeah, I ran out of, Hal always tells me to eat a sandwich after jumping the buck, and I ran out of sandwiches on the last day last year, and I didn't know what to do. So I just stood there staring at the tree.
I'd like to have that on video. 15 minutes.
You only wait a half an hour and have a sandwich the first time you jump them.
Unless he's with a hot dough, right?
Unless you're with a hot dough, then you don't wait.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
The words from the master.
Well, it don't always work, but usually it does. Yeah. How about you, Lee? What are you eating for lunch?
The peanut butter and jelly. Yep. I do, Matt, the low sugar jelly. Not that it matters, but I make 2 peanut butter and jelly sandwiches that would sustain a small Ethiopian village. But I rarely eat.
That was an
both
80s joke.
Yeah, that was an 80s joke. I rarely eat both of them. Very rarely do I eat both of them, so they rotate. But I don't carry any water at all. And I have hunted out in the Healer out west, and I did have to carry water, and I carried it in just a simple plastic bottle water, and then when you take a drink out of it, you squeeze the bottle till the water comes to the top and put the cap back on. That way it don't slosh around inside your pack. But the thought of carrying water in Maine, I just wouldn't do it. And some of the clients will show up, and they'll have them Nalgene bottles, and I throw them in the truck. And, if they really need to carry water, I'll give them a plastic
what bottles?
bottle. The Nalgene or whatever they are.
Yeah.
Nalgene bottle.
You'll want some of them when you go to Alaska there. It's a hard plastic bottle.
Yeah.
You can freeze them. You can put water in them and freeze them.
But they slosh awful,
Yeah.
And then I carry a couple of candy bars, but no, I don't eat that much. But I did a little research, so what was it, a year or so ago, maybe 2 seasons ago now, I wanted to learn what the fastest way to bring your body's energy back. Like you get a full head of steam in the morning after breakfast and you track a buck and all of a sudden you start to run out of energy. What's the fastest way to get it back? And I've got some doctors that are friends and health nuts, and Phelps Carter said to me in a British accent, "Well, you dummy, peanut butter and jelly sandwich would probably get you where you want to go." And I said, "Oh, you're kidding me, right?" He says, "No, if you do the research between the sugar and the carbs and everything and the protein and the peanut butter," he says, "that's probably, you're on the right track." And I says, "Well, 10 minutes after I eat one, I start to feel full of energy again." I figured it was the sugar, but so that's what I've done. But
I started a kick of eating. I was doing peanut butter Nutella. Then I looked on the ingredients of the Nutella, and I was like, the nutritional information is not very conducive to staying in shape. And I immediately got away from the Nutella. But it was pretty tasty.
I've never tried it. Is it good?
Oh, it's good.
I figured any chocolate that comes in a spreadable form is probably not good unless it's frosting.
I mean, cocoa plant is natural. I look at it. But
Well, somebody's calling. Hold on, Matt.
yeah. So, but it's something that I think never really gets talked about. So it's a good question, how much to carry out there, because you're walking a lot, you got to have fuel.
Oh, yeah.
Yep. If whether it's candy bars or those Cliff bars or whatever, you always want to have a couple of those extra in your pack. I have those in there that they just stay there. I don't eat them every day. If I had 2 candy bars and I ate one, I put one more back in there, so I always have something extra in case you had to have a long walk out late, or maybe you had to stay the night or something, which wouldn't happen too often, but always want to have a little bit extra, and those don't weigh anything, you know.
Yeah. I have the same Kit Kats in my pack at the beginning of the season as I do at the end of the season, you know, because
Yeah.
throw a few in there. You eat one, you throw another one in.
Yeah.
But I can't have a Snickers bar in there because I can't stop thinking about it all day long. I have to stop and eat every Snickers bar in that bag, or I can't even concentrate on the buck track.
I keep some of those. I'll think about them, but I have to hold myself off if I got the day, and it's like a treat.
I don't know how you can.
It's like a treat for me.
That's willpower right there.
We leave those at the truck so we have something to come back to.
I can't even have them in the truck because I'd turn around and go back. I'm never going to catch this deal. Let's go back to the truck.
Yeah. That's good promotion for Snickers, ain't it? I don't even like Snickers bars myself.
Well, the nuts get caught in your teeth, you know, when you got as many fillings as I do, and that stays with you for a few hours, you know.
At least you got the teeth.
Oh, shoot.
But
Good. What else? Is there another question related to
No.
fitness we can ask Matt? No?
I don't think so. We haven't gone over them yet, but
No.
I think we're about out of time for this podcast anyways. And so, well, it was great having you on, Matt. And if anybody wants to find your book, they can find it easy enough on Amazon.
what's the title of the book?
Yeah, say the title again, Matt.
Bucks that got away.
Bucks That Got
Yeah,
Away.
we did cover that.
Yeah,
That's-
probably everybody can relate to that.
Matt, I'll tell you the truth why Hal wants to wrap this up. Is there's a whole thing of muffins sitting on the table in front of us. We've been staring at for an hour and a half.
Surprised I haven't heard you chewing on them.
Well, it's just like when you're in the woods and you got that Snickers bar. You're looking
Snickers
forward
bar.
to it. We do the same thing with muffins.
I'll warm my coffee up and have a muffin before we get started again.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so we're going to have to say goodbye, Matt, before Lee gets all the muffins and me and Joe don't get one.
How much snow you've gotten over there in Vermont today?
Oh gosh, we've had probably 3 feet total, and we probably added 8 inches today.
Yeah.
You do any snowmobiling?
No, I'm more of a rabbit hunter. I get out on the snowshoes.
Yeah.
Oh, these
Those
fitness
Eagles.
guys, for crying out loud. He's
Yeah.
Yeah, those were
Probably-
the days. I used to save a lot of money when I rabbit hunted, but
he's probably part of like one of those anti-motorized vehicle clubs or something. Something like
no.
that.
I can turn them around. I can tell you.
Yeah.
About 3 hours
not
on my
anti, I
sled,
just
you'll
don't
be
participate.
turned.
Yeah.
Yep. The kind of riding we do keeps you in shape, aren't we?
Oh,
Got to get
yeah.
unstuck all the time.
Yeah.
And
Well, some of us do.
son of a bitch. I kind of walked into that one, huh?
Oh,
Don't leave Lee with an opening, Joe. Don't you know that?
My God.
oh. Well, I had my glasses on so I could see it.
All right.
All right.
Guys, well, I appreciate it.
Good
All
talking
right,
to you,
Matt.
Matt.
Thanks for being on, and we'll catch up with you.
Yeah.
Okay.
We'll see you, Matt.
Hey, thanks for tuning in. Till next time, good luck on the trail.